The first boo came from the back row. It wasn't loud, but it was sharp. Then another, then a few scattered laughs. By the time he reached the center of the stage, the sound had spread across the auditorium like wildfire. The school talent show lights were blinding. The microphone stand looked too tall for him. 16 years old, slim build, thrift store blazer, shoes polished carefully, but still worn at the edges. The crowd wasn't impressed. They hadn't even heard him yet. One judge leaned toward another and whispered something. They both smiled, not kindly. The host shifted awkwardly. "You may begin whenever you're ready," she said. But the audience had already decided. They thought this would be quick, embarrassing, forgettable. They had no idea what was about to happen, because the moment he opened his mouth, the entire room would wish they had stayed silent. His name was Elijah Brooks. Most students barely notice him. He didn't play sports, didn't sit at the popular tables, didn't try to be loud. He sat near the window in class, headphones in between periods, notebook filled with song lyrics no one had ever read. His mother worked night shifts at a nursing home. His older sister had dropped out to help with bills. Music was Elijah's escape, but not the kind blasting through car speakers. He loved soul, old R&B, Sam Cooke, Donny Hathaway, artists whose voices carried stories. His mother used to play vinyl records on a scratched-up turntable. "Real singing," she would say. "You feel it here." She'd press her hand against his chest. "Not just here." And he felt it. Every time. But outside his house, Elijah learned quickly that vulnerability was risky, especially at school, especially when you already felt invisible. The talent show flyer hung crookedly on the hallway bulletin board. "Show us what you've got." Cash prize. Local radio station judge. School-wide vote. Elijah walked past it 3 times that week. The 4th time he stopped, his friend Marcus noticed. "You thinking about it?" Marcus asked. Elijah shrugged. "Maybe." Marcus grinned. "Man, these people don't even know." But Elijah did know something. He knew the crowd at Ridgeway High didn't appreciate slow songs, didn't appreciate subtlety. They wanted flashy, funny, loud. And Elijah, he planned to sing an old soul ballad. No auto-tune, no backup dancers, just him and a mic. When he signed his name on the sheet, someone behind him laughed. "Bro, you gonna rap or something?" Elijah didn't answer. He just wrote his name carefully. Elijah Brooks, vocal performance. The auditorium was packed the night of the show. Cheerleaders performing dance routines. A comedy act. A rock band with electric guitars and smoke effects. The crowd was energized, restless. Then the host read his name. Next up, Elijah Brooks. A few confused murmurs. He stepped onto the stage. And that's when it started. "Ooh, man, this is going to be boring. Sit down." A boo echoed. Then another. Elijah felt it hit his chest like a physical force. The judges exchanged looks. One judge whispered into her microphone accidentally loud enough for front row to hear. "Let's hope this is quick." More laughter. Elijah gripped the mic stand tighter. He could walk off. No one would blame him. But then he thought about his mom, working double shifts, telling him his voice mattered. So he closed his eyes and nodded to the DJ. The instrumental began softly, a slow piano intro. The crowd groaned. "Boring." Someone clapped mockingly. But then Elijah sang, low, smooth, controlled. The first line cut clean through the noise. A rich tenor voice. Full, mature, unexpected. The boos didn't stop immediately, but they hesitated because what they heard didn't match what they assumed. He moved into the chorus, his voice rising, layered with emotion, not screaming, not forcing, just powerful. The laughter faded. The whisper stopped. And by the time he hit the first sustained high note, the auditorium was silent. It wasn't just that he could sing. It was that he felt it. His voice cracked slightly on one lyric, not from weakness, from emotion. And somehow that made it stronger. Phones slowly came up, recording. The same students who had booed now stared. because authenticity is disarming. He wasn't performing for applause anymore. He was telling a story about being overlooked, about wanting to be heard. And when he reached the final run, effortless, precise, soulful, the crowd erupted, not polite claps. A standing ovation from the front rows, the same section that had started the boos. The judges sat frozen. Then the radio station judge leaned forward. "Wow," he said into the mic. "Just wow." When the song ended, Elijah stood there quietly, breathing, processing. The host walked back onto the stage, her voice shaky. "I think we owe him an apology." Nervous laughter. But she wasn't joking. The crowd began chanting his name. "Yell IDH! Yell IDH!" One of the students who had booed earlier shouted, "My bad, bro." The judges gave their feedback. The first judge cleared her throat. "I misjudged you," she admitted. "You reminded me why talent shows exist." The radio judge smiled. "You don't just sing. You connect." Elijah didn't gloat, didn't smirk. He just nodded, because he hadn't come to prove them wrong. He had come to prove himself right. When the winners were announced at the end of the night, tension filled the auditorium. Third place, second place, then first place, Elijah Brooks. The room exploded again. Marcus nearly tackled him in a hug backstage. "You did that," he yelled. But the biggest moment came later, when Elijah stepped outside after the show and saw his mother standing near the entrance, still in her nursing scrubs. She had rushed straight from work. "I heard," she said softly. He handed her the trophy. "I remembered what you said," he told her. She smiled through tears. "Sing from here," she said again, touching his chest. "And they'll listen." The performance clip went viral locally, then statewide. The radio judge invited Elijah to record a demo. Music teachers who had overlooked him suddenly offered mentorship. But Elijah never forgot that first boo, because it taught him something powerful. People will sometimes decide your worth before you speak, before you sing, before you show them anything. And sometimes you don't respond with arguments. You respond with excellence. Months later, at graduation, Elijah performed again. This time, no boos, no whispers, just anticipation. And when he sang, the entire school listened. From the first note, they laughed before he began. They booed before he breathed. They judged before they listened. But when he started singing, the noise disappeared. Because talent doesn't shout for attention. It commands it. And sometimes the strongest voice in the room is the one they tried to silence first.